Saturday, the 23rd, I think. Let me get everything put together here. I planned on, because I need to get caught up with some comments, because I haven't taken time to do that over my past couple videos. So I'm going to pull that up somewhere. I think in my studio. And if you hear Theodore, it's 6:30. It's close to his dinner time. Y'all know, during some of my hauls at the end of my videos, he likes to go a little nuts because I'm usually doing that portion of it around that time. And you'll hear him in the background occasionally. Here we go. Let me pull up comments. Okay. So I kind of figured tonight, I'm not doing really an unboxing per se, but I figured I'd real quick kind of show you the couple things that I picked up. Well, picked up like one thing in each of my last videos. And then I went and met with a viewer of my channel, and I'm not sure if she wants me to say her name on here, so I won't, but you know who you are. And she bought a few paintings and stuff for me, out of some of the stuff that I was going to donate anyway. We had met up at the Goodwill and stuff, and she was interested in at least looking at it and seeing if there was anything. And so there were a few in there that she wanted, and I went and met her at the Goodwill today. And although I had literally just been there, I figured, we're here, let's go in. So this was earlier this morning. And I think my husband ran over to Freddie T's to go get something to eat. And then he came in and came around the corner with a Halloween mask on, which was interesting. But needless to say, I'm not even sure if I'm going to edit and put that video out. There was so little on the shelves, much less new stuff to even show you from the previous video, that I don't know. I'm going to take a look at it and see. If anything, maybe it'll just be a super short video. But I'm still going to go ahead and show you today what I picked up there. So I figured we'd start with that, and then I was going to go through a few of the comments and stuff and just kind of catch up with you guys and chit-chat and all that stuff. And I've got to open the chat. I can do it on the iPad, but then it disappears from me. Am I in the view my channel thing? Lives. There we go. Does that open it up? Oh, good Lord. I gotta wait on an ad. Where's the chat button? Live chat. Is it not allowing a chat? There we go. Hey, Lisa. I don't know why it's not allowing me to get in the chat. That's so strange. Join the conversation to interact with the creator. That's me. And others watching the live stream. Oh, maybe because the stupid ad is still on. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, here it is. It's off to the side. Good golly. Every device you use, it's going to be something, it's somewhere different. I know. I was going to go to, scroll down, you booger. Oh my goodness gracious. This thing's driving me nuts. I think it's because it's running ads on the, before it's opening up the live. Okay. I think now I can see it. So, yeah, Ashley, I was going to do a Niknax sale, but I don't know. I figured tonight, let's just relax. Let's take it easy. It's been a rough week. We got a little word back on the car, and at first they thought it was the throttle body and then possibly the timing chain and shaft things and whatnot. And so they changed out the throttle body, and then that sounded like it was working out. And then I got a call yesterday afternoon, and they said that it's working, but then it stops working again. And so they think it's actually something to do with like the, I don't know, cartridge like things that spit the oil or whatever out onto the timing. I don't know. Anyway, so they're checking that out, and we're supposed to hear back sometime next week. hopefully it's not $1 million when all is said and done. But let's take a look at this thing I got. Where was I? At Savers. Let me take the lid off of this. This is that divided porcelain dish that I had gotten over there. And I didn't do a haul in my last 2 videos because I only picked up one thing in each video. So I figured kind of like everybody saw it. What, oh yeah, your daughter had to go through that with the throttle body stuff. Yeah. Oh, and thank you. I know, I love this shirt. I think it's something to do with Marvel or something. I just like the lightning on it. But so this is that piece I picked up over at Savers, and they had $4.99 on it. And this is all entirely hand painted. And that's really what I loved about it. And I don't know, what are these? Violets? Is that what those are? But it's signed down here. I don't know how well the focus is coming in for you. It says Pat Campbell down there. But what a cool piece, I thought. And then there was no damage to it too, which was like the craziest part outside of the beautiful hand painting. But it's a divided dish, jewelry dish, trinket dish, it's a whatever dish. And it still had the made in Japan sticker on it. And I saw this line right here a little bit ago and I almost had a heart attack. I thought, was it broken and glued back together and I didn't notice? But no, that's the tape residue because they originally had tape wrapped around it. But it stopped my heart for a second. So, I don't know. I thought that was worth picking up for $5. You know, I always tell you guys I have plenty of trinket dishes and stuff, but I thought that one, you know, being divided was kind of unique. And since it was in great condition, I went ahead and grabbed it and figured what the heck. And estimated resale on it, I would venture to say probably around 12 to 18, somewhere in there. You know, it might go for a little bit more just because it's really beautifully hand painted with the florals and stuff, but conservative estimate, I would say probably 12 to 18 still. And then I had this piece that I got at Goodwill in my, I think, last video. And it was the only thing I picked up. And of course, I found all that beautiful Fenton. And I tried to pack as much little bit of info on those Fenton pieces as I could during that. But of course, there's always so much more. You know, and I'd have to grab my Fenton book to show you. But there was one of those pieces in there that is often, and if you go on eBay, you would want to search it this way as Holly Berry, but that's not technically the name of it. And the only reason I know that is because of my Fenton collector's book, you know. And it, I think, had even a copy of the original ad or whatever, you know, from back in the day. But yeah, it was hard to leave a lot of that. The one that I would have left for sure, without a doubt, is the one where a lot of the iridescence was coming out of it. I can't remember which piece that was. I think it was the first one I picked up. It was otherwise, as far as I know, all those pieces were in really great condition outside of that one with some of the missing, and $10 a piece on them. While of course I'd always love to get them cheaper, why, who wouldn't, right? But $10 a piece on those probably isn't too bad. It very much depends on the patterns. And the iridescent carnival glass stuff, there's a lot of reproductions that are made out there, and that was definitely one of my hesitancies when I was looking at them, is it'll be really fine, minute details usually on the older carnival glass. Now, sometimes you can tell because the iridescence will just be too shiny. Traditional, old iridescent glass, carnival glass from back in the day is actually matte. But the newer stuff that was done in the 70s and 60s and stuff, it'll be much more shinier. But still beautiful pieces, but that's one way you can kind of gauge the age on it. But, you know, I've told you guys, and I'm sure most of you know anyway, you know, the pottery and glass houses and stuff, they interchange molds and things like that. And then you have also things like reproductions of things. And Fenton was pretty good at things past 1971, but, you know, with debossing their name on it. But nevertheless, there will be slight variations sometimes, like in the reproductions, or if somebody else used that mold. And it'll be little things like the veins in the leaves. There was a piece of Dugan glass that I had to really sit and like look at the fine, minute details down to the way the veins in the leaves were in order to like truly verify it was in fact Dugan glass, antique glass. And so you know, yeah, I didn't want to leave all those pieces behind, but again, I have tons of stuff to sell, guys, and those pieces, there are certain ones that will sell and sell quickly because they're rarer to come across, certain patterns and stuff. Like that stag one, that stag bowl. Now, it did have a little chip on that sort of sawtooth edge on it, but if it had been like a cobalt blue with the iridescent and stuff, that would have been very, very different. And let me put this on Do Not Disturb. That was my mother calling, if you heard the phone ring. Here, let me check in on the chat. All right. The volume might be a tad low. Oh, dear. Hopefully that's not. Maybe I can bring it closer? I don't know. Let me know if you guys are having trouble hearing me, or if that's any better now. So it's good to see you, Lisa, Ashley, Katie, Diane. Diane, you're saying the volume's really low too? Well, shoot, why? Is there something I can do on here? Hey there, Found by Chain. Well, that turned off the volume. I don't think there's anything I can do on here. What can I do different? Darn. Well, I have my mic plugged in, so I wonder if it's maybe my mic's not getting all the way in, but I used it last time and it worked fine. Let me just try unplugging it. Is that any better now with the volume? Hey, BD from St. Joe. Uh oh, it looks like I'm circling. Okay, looks like I'm back. Katie, has it started? I'm not doing any sale tonight yet. Well, I wasn't planning on it. We could always jump over there and I could grab things, I suppose. Oh, Diane, I'm sorry. Guys, let me know. Janie, you can hear fine. Ashley, the volume's better. Okay, so maybe it's just, I don't know, my microphone wasn't plugged in. That darn microphone. I had to get a new one because the piece you plug in bent on my old one, and it's unfortunate because I literally ordered it off Amazon, and it's a wired mic, and I literally reordered the same one that I had ordered a year before, and it showed up and the cord was a little shorter, and the port, like even on my phone I had to like kind of cut the hole for where the mic goes a little bit, so I didn't have to keep taking my phone out of the case each time I plugged in my microphone, which is every time I go make a video, you know. But maybe not my last live, but the live before that, somebody had mentioned that they couldn't hear it very well, that the volume was kind of low, like in the chat. I think they watched the replay back, and so I, in my last one, used my mic, and I don't think there was an issue, but I don't know. Y'all, Tech and I, we fight a lot. I'm not even gonna try to hide it. All right, Lisa, you said it's chilly in Winnipeg. We had a slight cool down here. I'm trying to go backwards in the chat real quick, guys, and catch up with y'all. Slight cool down here. It was raining this morning, but it's sunny and kind of nice now. And I thought about even doing this live just sitting outside, but my screen room's not cleaned up or anything, and I waited till like an hour before the live started to have that thought. So here we are. Uh, um, oh, and Ashley, are you talking about missing me on my Niknax sale from last time? That's okay. I think we went for like roughly an hour and a half. I had one item sell, and I was trying something kind of new with the way I was doing it. And the reason I was doing it that way was I was trying to figure out a way, because I've been doing live unboxings with you guys, right? On like Saturday or Sunday instead of just a regular thrifting video. And so I was thinking, well, how can we make this even more productive and more fun and stuff like that? And I thought, well, instead of it just being a live unboxing, what if we do like a live unboxing sale? And so that's kind of why I was trying it in that way a little bit, to see how, like with doing measurements and stuff like that, and weighing it in front of you guys, and trying to kind of give you the full, what would you say, item description, like as if I was creating a listing but giving it to you live in person, during the sale, and just to see how that flow kind of went. And I don't think it was terrible. I didn't come away with a lot of sales, but you gotta try things, I think. And I don't know. I'm interested more kind of in like your guys' feedback. Like, is that too slow of a pace, you think? Because like I've mentioned before, you see other people and they'll go to like antique stores or thrift stores or whatever, and they'll be literally doing a live sale right then and there. Now, of course, they're not giving you the weight or the measurements or any of that. They're just like holding something up, and if people are interested, they'll run it. And so I was kind of trying like along that sort of thought process of doing the unboxing, and I don't know. I guess I'll have to see. Okay, let me see. Let me keep catching up here. And Ashley, you said your daughter had gone through the throttle body issue with the car. Yeah, and they thought that was it, but now since they're thinking it's this, I can't remember what they called it. It started with a C. Like, it's not cartridge. It's something else. It's whatever spits out the oil onto like the timing chain and stuff, because they were also thinking it might be the timing chain. I'm supposedly going to hear back in early next week. Let's see. And thanks everybody for coming to hang out, spending your Saturday. I figured we'd just kind of do a hangout, catch up on like comments left on videos and stuff like that I haven't had a chance to get to. And oh no, Lisa, you jacked up the sound and then a commercial came on. I hate that. All right. Oh, good, Diane, you're still here. Okay, glad. I'm glad the sound's better. We'll leave the mic undone. And it looks like it went to commercial. So we got folks in from St. Joe. Gosh, the print on here is so small. I wish I could make it bigger. Oh, Devil's Piano, you're not late. We've just been sitting here shooting the breeze. Ashley, your ex is setting up your new phone because you're the same way. I know. And it's funny though. I'm tech. I fail at tech when it comes to, like, you don't want me to program your computer or your phone or any of that. Like that, it's just not my thing. I am an 80s baby, early 80s. Cell phones, pagers. That was the thing when I was in high school, towards like the end of high school. And then like your very, very basic cell phones were coming out. And then, we didn't even have internet at my house until my later years of high school. I mean, it just wasn't, I'm in that age group where like we grew up as children without it. And then it kind of came in and became more popular in your like average homes to have at least a computer, like towards my last years of high school and stuff. And so, and certainly like cell phones really didn't become a thing until maybe a year or two after I graduated. And they weren't smartphones like they are today. They were like flip phones. You could text to make phone calls, and that was pretty much it. Like when that Worm game came out on it, that was like a breakthrough. People were fascinated, with it. And then you look at cell phones now, and there's no comparison. And so I don't know, like my husband made fun of me. Like I had never even been on YouTube until I think like 2008. Like never physically gone on to YouTube. Well, not physically, but you know what I mean. Like logged on onto YouTube to like watch a video. It was all new to me. He moved in with me and made me get a dang cell phone and internet, and and then he had a laptop, so that's why he made me get all that stuff. But it was like, gosh darn. And then here I am today with the YouTube channel. But I do spend a lot of time reading about tech and emerging technologies and trying to choose words carefully, especially because this isn't stuff my channel's based usually like around. But just kind of where everything is headed in the technological realm. And while I know there's a lot of people that are really, really excited about it, I think there's also a lot of people that don't, like most people don't understand how their email leaves their computer, kind of thing. So I think that I think we'll see. I think we'll see how it all goes. But I'm personally not looking forward to it. I'm not a personal big fan of like using AI agents or AI in general and things like that. And that's my personal choice. Yeah, that's me. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, Diane. Yeah, being a reseller, it is a constant learning experience. Ashley, you'd be down for doing an unboxing and sale at the same time? Okay. Well, let's do it next Saturday. I don't know. What else I gotta lose? It'd be fun, I like hanging out with all y'all. So, I mean, whether we sell anything or not, I just enjoy kind of hanging out, really. Lisa, you had dial-up years after everyone else had moved on and couldn't even watch YouTube. Right, yeah. And like same thing with Facebook. And my Facebook, I stopped again. I think I created my first and only Facebook account, my personal one, back in 2008 or 9, and then in 2018 I just really never went on it. But I never really got into Facebook or social media in that way. And I think some of that has to do with just that kind of fractured time period I grew up in, because it's like the next generation for the most part kind of grew up with all that like right here in their face, or at least the beginnings of it. As to where for me, like we had Nintendo, but that was kind of the extent of it. It was nothing like today. Like people born after the year 2000, I think especially, it's they're like our brains are slightly different because of it. I think just somehow it's just growing up with all the like technology right there. I don't know. I'm probably not wording it very well, but I think I'm sure you guys kind of know what I'm saying. It's been real hot in the Four Corners, Ashley. Yeah, it's been blazing here. 85 in the mountains, in the low 90s. Yeah, and 4 fires. Oh my gosh. Hi, Lilia V from Indiana. Thanks for watching my videos. I'm glad you're here. Ashley, born in 71, you weren't allowed to watch TV. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like we had a TV, but again, you didn't have the channels and all the thing. It was just different, guys. Like, if for anybody here who's a little younger, like it was just different. kids today don't, for the most part, as far as I know, don't have that like experience of like when I was a kid, it was a big deal. We would go to Dillon's and we would go rent a VCR, and like I think my brother and I each got to pick out a movie, a VHS tape or whatever, and that was like a big deal. It was family movie night, kind of thing, Friday night, and I don't, I don't know. There's probably still some mom and pop type video shops here and there in small towns, but for the most part, I mean, good luck finding it. I don't know. Are there still stores out there for? I mean, I know you can find VHS and stuff over in the thrift stores. Keep that in mind, guys, if you're interested in kind of going old school with it. And you didn't have a cell phone until 10 years ago. Yeah. Yep. I mean, my reasons weren't due to like any religion thing, although, again, researching everything I have now, it's probably along those lines. But yeah, I just was kind of a late bloomer. I never understood why it was so necessary, but it took hold and went like wildfire. I mean, look at society today. You don't go anywhere and see somebody without a cell phone, including myself. Granted, I'm normally out like filming video with it, but drink out of a water hose. I know. And now knowing the amount of fluoride and other chemicals in the water, I'm surprised we're all still alive. But maybe we, I don't know, gained a little extra immunity from it because we did the same thing. It's funny though, I take Theodore out back and let him swim in his pool. He has like one of those 59-inch diameter pools with the fish printed on it. And he thinks he's catching fish. He solidly believes this every time he goes. I think he believes they come out of the water hose. So we'll sit out there, as long as the weather's good, for an hour or two a day usually. But, it's your regular, just standard water hose. And I dump a bunch of Epsom salt in it. I add a little tea tree oil and lemon oil and stuff like that to it, just to help his fur and stuff like that, and sort of like natural sort of pesticide, if you will, to help reduce fleas and things like that, because he has like 1,000 layers of fur. You're in Upper Michigan, Diane, at 72 degrees. 72 would be nice. Ooh, right on Lake Michigan. Yeah, I bet it's beautiful. We certainly do live in an all-new world. Yeah, Lilia. I can type. We had to learn to type in high school. I remember having to take specifically a typing class. I don't know if they still do that or not. I don't know that they would, because every kid like in elementary school has a tablet, right? So I don't know if people still have to take typing classes in school or not, but I remember having to do that. And had monitored computers. Yeah, Ashley. You guys rented movies, had movie night. I know. And there's something sad to me about that, um, what was it? It was like VHS tapes, and you could go rent them like at Blockbuster and stuff. And the next thing you know, you had, I think it was Netflix that came out and started doing that. But Netflix originally wasn't streaming. Originally, you like went on their website or whatever, and they would mail you out the disc, so you had to wait for it to come, which was kind of like going to Blockbuster, but it eliminated, like, there was more to going to Blockbuster than just picking out a movie. It was a whole thing. There was like candy, the smell of the store, those buckets of popcorn, thing. I mean, it was a whole thing. Ashley, you failed typing twice. Katie, they don't teach it anymore. I know, they don't teach cursive, they don't teach typing, but that's because that's all going away. That's kind of the technology part of things that I was talking about. unfortunately, I mean, it's like the need to think is kind of being eliminated. Think and do, you know, especially when you start talking about technologies that can do that like a lot for you without requiring you to even put in thought. You know, look at things like Chat GPT and stuff like that, where you can go in and say, "Hey, type me up, blah 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 blah," and have this kind of tone to it, and yada yada yada. It's the same thing on eBay. When you go in to create your item description, there's the option there to use like an AI agent or assistant to write your item description for you. And it basically pulls info from the item specifics you've put in, but it also pulls info from the photos that you put in. So I'm sure, or I wouldn't be surprised, if it takes those photos and then kind of, in a sense, like Google lenses them itself to help it, you know, put together this very whimsical, beautiful sounding item description. And I don't know, to me, they save time. I'm not going to deny that. Using these things will save you time. I've seen a lot of resellers on YouTube talk about the different technologies, and I can understand the appeal of it, because I promise you it probably does make things quicker as far as listing goes. But personally for me, I don't like the whimsical thing. Like, I kind of get detailed in my item description. If you want to know anything about the piece, I fill in all the item specifics that are required, but then in the item description, I like break it all down, you know, like what it is, the material, you know, blah blah blah. I try to add in any like history info on it, or anything about who produced it, you know, all that stuff, measurements, condition, the whole thing. I try to give it all. And when you use the like AI agent thing to write it for you, it doesn't break it down the way I want it done, I guess is my point. Yeah, Katie, the smell of the floors. Yeah. Yeah, the 70s and 80s, a lot changed following that, especially a lot changed. I think there was a lot of transition going on kind of through the 90s, and then 2000 and certainly 2001 hit. And I think those transitions that were being put in place in the background for a long time prior to that kind of got kicked into high gear following that. And, you know, that's when we saw the big boost in technologies all of a sudden coming out, and everything. And, you know, again, like I said, I can see the appeal to it. I can see how it would make certain things easier. I also can see a lot of the downside to it, though. And just like them not teaching kids how to, like, basic typing skills, you know, anymore and stuff. Why have to know it when you can just speak into your device and it'll type it up for you, you know? Ashley, your kids were the last for Blockbuster. Yeah. Yeah, AI, it does. It has its perks to it. It definitely does. I'm not necessarily for autonomous AI, and I'd say large language models, but that all kind of starts getting pretty complicated. And I'm definitely not a tech guru enough to break it down, not without like pulling up a bunch of papers and stuff like that on it. But it's going to change stuff. That's for sure, guys. That is definitely for sure. It already has. So, but okay, so let me show you guys this piece here. And somebody had in the comments said, oh, Eagle Heads had said the Raggedy Ann plate is German Rheinfeld but you couldn't catch the second inscription. So I wanted to show you guys that again, although the glare might make it difficult, and it probably looks backwards to you guys. I forgot that it does that during the live. But what I loved about this is it's hand painted, and I think it's a terracotta. I think I can see like just a slight bit of red coming through here. I think it's terracotta, but it's slightly like incised. It's just slightly textured and then hand painted. And I thought it was adorable. I mean, one, it got this random bird over here just kind of doing its thing, but it's the adult version of Raggedy Ann and Andy. And I thought that was so like cool. You know, they're normally like child rag dolls, you know? Okay. Oh, hold on. All right. Theodore's getting antsy. Okay. Mrs. W442 had said she'd have kept the lizard. Oh, from when I was at Savers, that giant plastic lizard. That thing would terrify me if I came across it in my sleep. Or not in my sleep. Like if I woke up and was walking down the hallway and like that was sitting in the hall, I would come undone. And Rami, I don't know if you're watching or if you'll catch this later or something, but those canisters in my last video, I know, I wanted to get them. But then I was in my head thinking, I can't even remember, I've got at least probably 2 or 3 sets of canisters over here already. And I'm just like, I've got to get them listed and stuff. I've just got to. The prices on them I don't think were terrible though. I can't remember what they were, but I feel like they weren't bad. And were they even yellow tags? Were they on sale too? Like, I know I left money on the table. I'll put it that way. It was like a set of 3 of them. There was like a tea, maybe a coffee, and a sugar one, and they were really cool. I think made in Japan, and I didn't inspect them fully, so I don't want to swear that they were all completely like in perfect condition, but from what I saw of them, they looked overall pretty good. And I thought they were priced pretty reasonably and everything for them. But the set of 3 of them probably could have sold for $30 to $40, give or take. They were definitely vintage, probably out of the late 60s, maybe the 70s, and they were really cool. And then, am I saying it right? Stacia Lyons. You were talking about the Fenton glass was beautiful, and understand not getting them to flip because they might sit for a while. Oh, and that is something I was telling you guys earlier, and I don't know, probably got distracted with something else that I was saying. But yeah, so when you're looking at those older pieces, you'll go on eBay or Etsy. Gosh, I can't think of the name of the other one. It's not Charity. What is it called? Darn it. I can't think of it. Anyway, you can go on the other selling platforms and stuff, and you'll find tons of them listed, and you'll find plenty of sold comps for most patterns, and in most of the colorways too. But how long it took before those solds came through, I don't know. I just know that they sold in the last 90 days. And so that's part of where you're looking at like the amount, the number sold versus the number currently listed. And that can kind of give you a rough estimate of how long things actually take to turn over. Because if you have a huge abundance of things currently listed, but only a handful or a fourth of what's currently listed has actually sold in the last 90 days, and then you kind of know there's a slower turnover rate. And that doesn't mean that when they sell, they don't carry a good value. They can. It's just how long it takes to sell. And some patterns, even when you're talking the old glass and stuff, they just can take longer to sell sometimes. It depends on the pattern a lot and the condition, primarily the condition. First and foremost, always the condition. And the heavier the iridescence, usually, the better. Cobalt tends to be the, I don't want to say every time because nothing's always 100%, but cobalt glass with the heavy iridescent, or amethyst. Amethyst, I'd say probably is rival to cobalt when it comes to carnival glass or iridescent glass and stuff. Green's another good color, but I would say cobalt and amethyst would be the top two base color glass that I would personally be looking for. Diane, you live in a town of about 4,000 people. Y'all are old school. You have a movie theater and it's free? Oh my gosh. I know we still have a drive-in south of us. I want to say maybe 15, 20 minutes south of us. Diane, you're only on eBay so far. Trying another platform at the same time is a little daunting. It is. It is. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, when I'm doing listings, that's kind of how I do them. And that's part of the reason why doing the listings takes a little longer. And there are things out there that application or apps and stuff like that and programs you can use that will list on multiple platforms for you, and all at once. So you just basically feed it the information and it'll do all of it for you. And I'm sure at this point in time, I wouldn't be surprised anyway if most of that is all done by AI algorithm, just basic computer generated type thing. And that's fine. Like I said, there's a lot of perks to it. Certainly look into these things. And if you feel like there are things you want to try out, go for it. Just for me personally, I don't like to. But what that does mean is that when I'm listing like I do my eBay listing, and then I go over and I do the same listing over on Niknax. And so it goes a little bit quicker because I can kind of copy paste the item description portion into Niknax, but it's still, you got to upload photos and all the things and whatnot. So it's still a little time consuming. But yeah, the more platforms you add to your repertoire, I'm not saying this right. But the more platforms you're listing on, the more daunting it will become, and it becomes more to keep up with. So like the benefit to some of those apps that do the multi-listings for you at the same time is if it sells on one platform, it'll auto remove it from other platforms for you. Some of them do that anyway, which is very handy, because I have to remember if something sells on Niknax, I got to go pull it from eBay and vice versa kind of thing. And it looks like this went to commercial again, which is so annoying. Like, I don't know why it wouldn't do commercials during like the replay. Why does it do them now? Oh well. And it freezes the chat on me. That's okay. Let me look for some more stuff. And I'm gonna grab a drink of water. Let's see. Kim, what video was this that you were talking about? The French glass. Oh, you're probably talking about the Arcroc glass, the black glass with the, did they call it Aztec? What was the pattern name? See, I put the stuff in the video, guys, and then it's like it's in and then it's out. It's gone again. But you're probably talking about that Arcroc France glass. It is, I think it still said France on it, didn't it? I don't know. I want to make sure we're talking about the same thing, I suppose. But yeah, that Arcroc France one isn't a bad pattern to get. But again, part of my thing is I have a whole lot of dish sets, guys. And then just wait. Here in a second, I'm going to show you what I did grab at the Goodwill today. Because if you weren't in here earlier, in the very beginning, I was talking about how I met up with a viewer of my channel, and I'm not sure if she wants me to say her name or not, so I'm not going to, but she knows who she is, and she was interested in some of the artwork that I was going to donate and stuff, and so we met up, and she got a few of those pieces from me. and we met at the Goodwill, and it was the Goodwill that I had just done that video at, my last video. And so I figured, well, I'm here, I'm gonna go in and just see, you might as well, right? You know, and take advantage of being there, especially since we're down to one car right now. And so I go in, but you know, I'm not too hopeful, but you never know. You never know. I've had weirder things happen, that's for sure. So I go in, and yeah, it was, the shelves were fairly bare, and there was quite a bit of repeat of what we literally just saw. And so I'm debating. I'm gonna look at the footage and see, you know, maybe I can make a shorter video out of it, but I'm gonna show you guys what I did pick up, which wasn't much, but I'm still gonna show you guys tonight, just in case I don't do it, in case I scrap that footage, because I really feel like it would be boring to sit and like, you know, just look at the same stuff we just looked at. Okay, scroll down, you booger. It's like this page is having issues. Diane, you have a amethyst picture and you've had it listed for a while. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised at some of, even some of my Fenton pieces that are not always super easy to come across, you know, that I have listed. And they've been sitting for a little bit. And, you know, I have everything on my stuff. Oh, well, I should also mention, I can't believe I didn't mention this in the very beginning, but I went ahead and put both of my Niknax and eBay, I found out how to put my Niknax store on sale, by golly. And so I was able to do both stores this time. They're 30% off everything in the store. My Niknax store, I think you have to enter the code that I created for it at the checkout, which is 30% off KC, and it's in all capital letters. So at checkout you put that in, and then it applies the 30% off. But both of my stores are 30% off again and stuff. I'm just trying to kind of do like a summer clear out thing, and so I have both of those set to run through September 20th and see what happens. And then I'm getting ready, I'm not sure when. I feel like we're in this very slight cool down right now, and then it's going to get hot, like blazing hot again for probably at least a couple weeks. So I'm debating if I should wait a little longer before redoing my multi-day auction with my Afghans and stuff, because I think fall time is probably going to be a better time to try that again. And I'm going to try it again, I think, on Niknax, and if there's not much action with it, then I'm going to try it on eBay. I haven't done a multi-day auction on eBay basically since I started my eBay store, and I really just did it then to see how multi-day auction worked. So, you know, and I think I sold, it was a little Joseph's original figurine, and you know, somebody wanted it for like $8 or $12 or something like that. I'm clicking buttons, I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay. Let's see. Ashley, you were saying you live on Southern Reservation, 800 people. They do lots for free at the library. Oh, yeah. Movie nights and stuff. Got to go 55 miles for a larger town for a theater. You know what, though? When I was younger and first moved out of the house, I went and lived in like the midtown area of Kansas City. And so like one block away was the plaza and a little more ritzy. And then on the other side was kind of the less ritzy area. And so I lived kind of split in the middle of them and stuff. And I just, at that age, I moved out when I was 18 and stuff. And so, and I lived down there until I was 20 or 20. I think 21. I think I turned 21 while I lived down there. And then I moved back up into Shawnee over near the hospital I was working at the time. But I loved it at the time. It felt like a mini New York, you know, in a sense. You know, it kind of had the hustle and bustle of a city and all that kind of stuff. And I loved it at that age, at that time. And the apartment we lived in was really cool. It was an old apartment, and like the pool was like this like lagoon shape and had bridges going over it. It was built like back in the 70s. It was so cool. But now, and probably I'd say for the last 10 years or so, you couldn't pay me to move any further north than I currently live. The traffic has become ridiculous. Like there's construction everywhere. The traffic's everywhere. Even in my little town, it has, since we moved out here in 2012, the population has like boomed. They've been putting in so many subdivisions and stuff like that. We got our very first stoplight put in, I think last year, when they put in a quick trip. And, otherwise, we had a few stop signs here and there, but it was just like you have one main drag in the town, and then, it's just a little old town. And that's part of the reason why we moved out here, was we were 10 or 15 minutes from your normal amenities, but far enough out that like you could see all the stars at night, sort of thing. And it's not like that anymore. I get annoyed. I'll just admit it. I get really annoyed when I drive up to the main drag and like I'm just trying to go to the post office across the street, and I have to sit there for several minutes because of the amount of traffic coming through. And I'm like, I thought this was a small town. What is going on? Oh my goodness. But I think the older I get to and I also think just with the way times are and the way things have been going, I just have less interest living in heavily populated areas. I think socially and culturally, today we're too shifted apart. Even out here, I know very few of my neighbors. And that's sad, because when push comes to shove, you hope that the people around you, that you'll all pull together, because you look at situations like Hurricane Helene and stuff like that, and things happen outside of our control, and it's usually your neighbors and your fellow people around you that come in and all pull together and do their best to make it through. And so unfortunately, I don't want to say that won't happen, because I don't know, but I think that would be far more difficult in your like inner city areas and stuff like that. I just, even in my little town, like I said, I know very few of my own neighbors. Just there's something that's changed that's it's unfortunate. Ashley, after your surgeries, you're going to do some reselling. Yeah. Yeah. Spend your time now learning and researching and stuff. That's what I did before I actually really started reselling. And even now, like, I have a lot of knowledge. Like, there's a whole lot rolling around in there, but I always have to go back and reference my collector's books and reference books and all that kind of stuff. And so, it's never ending. The knowledge and stuff. And then I like to watch good people too that are very knowledgeable. I think there's some value like in watching Dr. Lori. Obviously, she went to school for art history and all this stuff. She's a PhD, so she's got a lot of knowledge herself. But I like watching people like Scott, his YouTube channel, the old Curiosity Shop. And again, I think I've mentioned him before, and we don't know each other. We've never spoken. I don't, he has no idea who I am. But he is somebody that I would recommend, especially if you're interested in reselling, like genuine, like 30s, 40s era and 20s too. He's good with the furniture. He's good with like Depression era glass. He's really good with electronics, like your old radios and stuff like that. I mean, he's got a very good knowledge base. Of course, you got George the Antique Nomad. I don't know how he keeps that file index in his brain the way he does. That blows me away. I've known people in real life like that are like a walking encyclopedia. and I feel so dumb, like standing next to him, like I can't even hold a conversation with you because you're like way up here and I'm like down here, and it's like I know what you're talking about, but I can't always pull it up front. And you'll watch him walk through a store, and he's like everything that's hanging up, he could kind of tell you who made it, when, where, why, yada yada. And it's great to watch though because you'll learn a lot. So I love watching people like that, and I'm sure there's several others that I can't even think of right now, but they have a genuine, like, good, solid knowledge base on stuff, and I've learned a lot from that. Oh, Katie, you'd buy almost everything if you could. I would let you, Katie, if you could. I'm not gonna lie, I would let you. You only have room for small items. Yeah. I tell myself constantly, Ashley, that I'm only going to buy small. I'm only going to buy small. And then you guys see my videos. You see what happens. It's like, it's inevitable. As soon as you say, I'm sticking to smalls, it's got to fit in, a 6x6 or my most common size box I use, and I get them currently from Walmart, is a 12 by 8 by 10. And, or my next size I use is 11 by 8 by 6. And then as far as on the larger end of boxes, like if it's a dish set or something, or it's something fragile enough and just slightly big enough that I don't trust it, that there's enough room in the 12 by 8 by 10, then I will go to my next big box size of, I think it's a 15 by 12 by 10. And that's usually only a couple dollars more than the 12 by 8 by 10. But, there's been times where when I'm prepping it, like the listing and stuff, I'm pretty sure it'll fit in that, and then I go to actually package it up, and it's always a little different. Like, you have a dish set, and once you have all the pieces packed up and bubble wrapped and stuff, it's a little bit bigger than you anticipated, and I get uncomfortable when things are too close to the sides of the box and stuff, and so I'll just move it up. And usually the increase in the price is within a couple dollars, and I just eat that cost. I just do, because I would rather the stuff get to the buyer intact and eat $1 or $2 cost out of the sale than it to show up broken, and one, then the person who bought it is out that item, and then 2, I'm like out the sale basically. Like, I generally refund all that stuff if it looks like legit post office damage. If it seems reasonable to refund, then I'm going to refund it, because then obviously I didn't do my job correctly, or I could have done it better. Certainly there's some things out of your control. When you ship things, they get sent to a hub, and then they're put on these conveyor belts and fed down machines, and so a lot of things can happen. It's not always just the mail guy kicking your stuff around, but I try to package it that no matter what, in theory it'll arrive intact. Oh, Nancy, thank you. I appreciate you watching. Ashley, you've got a tiny kitchen. Oh, you have a tiny kitchen for now, but planning on buying a home after your folks' estate and land sells. Yeah, I know. Girl, look for somewhere with some land too, at least a little bit. Ideally, if I could, we only have like a 1/4 acre. We're technically like in a residential neighborhood. But if I had the room, I would put like an insulated shed. Like, what's that dude, his YouTube channel, the Commonwealth Picker? You know how he has like his shed out back, if any of y'all watch him? I would love to have something separate, because it would be like having my business, my shop, all of this, out there and not in the house. And ideally that would be wonderful. And if I had the space to do it, I would be finding a way. I would build it by hand if I had to. Not joking. Ashley, Oh, you lived here and for about 7 years and then went back to Colorado? Yeah. I haven't been to Colorado since I was a little kid, and I can't even tell you where we visited. I do remember a very giant boulder thing that I climbed up on. But we went to the Ozarks a lot, which is complete opposite direction of Colorado. But we went to the Ozarks a lot with my grandparents, my mom, brother, and I. My dad was usually working, so my mom, brother, and I would ride with my grandparents in their RV, and we would go and spend probably a week or so, the drive over there and then hang out and go to Silver Dollar City and go down in that cavern thing they got over there and stuff. And but that's been some well over 20 years now, well beyond 20 years ago. Lisa, you're in the middle of a city. It's not fun. I know. I don't know too if it's like the older I get, I genuinely try and put forth effort to like try and stay as zen as possible. But I find myself able to quickly lose patience with overcrowded areas. And it just, I don't know. You run into some people just in passing, and they're kind, they're respectful. Like you both like make eye contact, you see each other, to kind of like shift to get by each other. And then there's other people that are just gonna like, they don't even look up, they're on their phone, or they just don't care, and they'll just shoulder check you. And it's just like, it's irritating. It's just irritating, dang it. I don't know. The older I get, the crankier I get, I think. You would love to see the stars again. I know. Out here, it's kind of disappointing. It's like I can see them, but it's not nearly like it was even a few years ago. They've put a subdivision in like back over here. They've put several in out along this way, and so they've added all these street lights, and you don't realize how much light pollution is coming off of those until you're standing there trying to look at the stars. And I wish I could go back to the days of like pre-1950s when less than half the country was technically electrified. A lot of people still had outdoor plumbing and everything too. Ashley, you came back from Kansas about 10 years ago already. Yeah. It's changed here, y'all. It has changed. I grew up in Olathe, in South Olathe, kind of in the older area of it, and as a kid, we would be outside nonstop, until the street lights came on, and then you'd hear my whistling kind of thing. And granted, I generally wasn't out riding around on my bike by myself or walking around by myself or anything. And so I'm not saying that things didn't happen back in the day, but as a grown adult, walking through those same neighborhoods and areas that I used to ride our bikes in and play in and stuff, as a child, I wouldn't walk through by myself today. Not without being super hyper vigilant and stuff like that. And like it has grown in population by leaps and bounds, but it's also just I'm just saying. Like there's that Salvation Army that's right over there off 135th and Ridgeview, and it's kind of that like a little more run down Salvation Army. I don't go there terribly often, but I did a video there not too long ago, and I have found some good stuff there. But like I think I showed in that one, they had jewelry jars up there, like 2 of them, and one I think was like $80 and the other one was $100, and I was like, oh my gosh. But they also had that cool mermaid lamp, but they had $100 on it, and it looked like when I pulled comps, it could sell anywhere from around like 150 or so to like 250, like anywhere in that region. And so, good on them if they sell it. That's cool, but I think they're probably jumping a little high for a thrift store, especially in that area. But who am I, But yeah, you like that's one that I look around. I'm not even gonna lie, especially because if you guys go there, you should be aware. It's not a place that like um it's not a place that I leave my car doors unlocked. We'll put it that way. All right. I think I've pretty well caught up. Let me see. I was gonna try to catch some more comments over here from videos and stuff because I haven't had a chance to go through too many of them. Kim, I'm gonna have to go back and watch this video to see what all you're talking about. I think it was my most recent one. Wood turned lamp. I think that was a newer lamp. I think I know what you're talking about there that was on the cart. Yeah, and I agree. I think $10 for the Fenton pieces and stuff. I don't think that was a terrible price for them. I think it was high for the one that a lot of the iridescence was missing from. I think they probably should have lowered the cost on that one. But no, I don't think $10 is terribly high on those at all. Um, my thing is I do have some pieces, although most of mine are marigold. I'm not gonna lie. I do have some like carnival glass pieces and like antique Dugan pieces and stuff like that, and Fenton glass, and stuff that's listed, and it's been listed, and then I've got tons of other stuff to list, and so for me, I was kind of like, well, I don't know. Like a part of me regrets not getting them. I'm not gonna lie, a part of me does, but it would have been, I think, I probably still would have left that stag bowl because of the chip on the rim for it, although it was pretty cool. But in the white opalescent, I think is what it was, opalescent or iridescent, I can't remember the way Fenton called it, but um, not only the chip on it, but the white doesn't sell very well. I noticed in the comps, it seemed that the blue and maybe I only saw the cobalt base glass one, but blue and green, but basically the colored glass versions seem to sell better. So I probably would have left that, especially since it was damaged. But I agree. I kind of regret it. There was like three of them there that I kind of wish I would have gotten because they looked beautiful. But I did see this elderly lady looking at them, and I didn't get the impression that she was a reseller, but you never know. But I think she wound up getting at least a couple of them, and she looked pretty excited about it. So I was glad to see that. I knew they wouldn't sit there long, but she looked like, if I had to guess, I don't think she was a reseller. I think she was probably a collector or something, and I think she was pretty excited to have found them. So then a part of me's kind of glad I didn't get them. Sometimes when I pass things up, I know that there's other people, like collectors of those things, that are looking for them. And then there's there's other resellers. There's other people trying to make a living too. And so sometimes when I pass things up, you know, somebody else gets to benefit. And I hope karma wise that comes back around for me too. That milk glass candy dish was Anchor Hawking. Okay, that's what I was wondering. And this is D Swear 420, and you just snatched up all the carnival glass. Yeah. The Crazy Daisy Pyrex piece, one, it was missing the lid, so that's already gonna like deduct you some points when you're gonna resell it, because if you look, the ones that have the lids tend to do better for obvious reasons. But I'm pretty selective with my Pyrex. I have some pieces downstairs that I need to get listed. A lot of them are like, well, and Corning for that matter. But they're the gosh, what's it called? It's like the most common one, the blue like cornflower one, you know. I have several of those. The ones that everybody was claiming were selling for millions of dollars a few years back. And I don't know what was up with that. I think there's rare pieces that are harder to come across, especially ones that are made out of the United States, which is pretty interesting when you go to look into that. But there's such certain pieces by Corning and Pyrex and stuff that were made in, I want to say Australia, actually. I don't know if there's anybody from Australia here that can confirm that. Definitely let me know. But I'm pretty picky with it because if you go online, not just eBay, but anywhere, you can find Pyrex everywhere. Every pattern. There are literally booths in antique malls, which I'm sure a lot of those folks post a lot of that inventory online as well, not just in the antique mall. But there's literal stores that are dedicated to Pyrex, and that's all they sell and stuff. And so it's like there's, in my opinion, there's an abundance of it out there, and that's not to say it doesn't carry value. It does. A lot of the patterns do. But I'm pretty picky with it because there is such an abundance of it. If it's faded at all, I generally, unless it's a super, super, super rare pattern, I'm not going to mess with it. I probably, especially at the prices that the thrift store is charging, because since there seems to be such an abundance out there, enough that people have their whole antique booth dedicated to nothing but Pyrex, to me, I don't know, it just seems like it would sit for a long time unless it is in perfect condition. And I feel like I did have some Pyrex Crazy Daisy stuff. It was the clear salt and pepper shakers, like the cream and sugar, and I feel like there was something else with it that I finally sold here not long ago. I think there were cups too that came with it. Gosh darn it, I'd have to go back and look at it now. But it was like a whole little set, right? And I had it listed for a very long time before it sold, and it was in perfect condition. You know, so I guess I'm just picky. I don't know. Don't always do what I do. That platter tray is capiche shells. Yeah. And I love those things. They are sharp though. I'm going to tell you, there was a tiny piece of it that had come off that was like kind of wedged up underneath the rim of it and had come off. And I saw something shiny on the floor and I picked it up. And they call them oyster window pane. And you can clearly see why. I mean, they are so super thin and they are very sharp. So you want to be careful with them. Teresa, you said you bought some Sango stoneware plates and bowls for your grandson's apartment, and they were almost $80 when you Googled them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not all Sango carries a super high resale value, but a surprising amount of it does. And it's, more importantly, it's good. It's, in my experience, I have Sango, like the big soup mugs and stuff, and some of the like plates and bowls and stuff of Sango. I don't know what pattern they are, but I mean, they're just like good quality stoneware. I like them. They're heavy duty. They stand up to wear pretty easily. And they're the ones that my husband has been able to break the least out of all of my other dishes. Go figure. I'm just looking through it. Sorry, guys. More comments. Oh, Katie, you had asked why glass bake is frowned upon. You know, I'd have to go back and read about it again. But basically, like, Pyrex and glass bake were kind of like rival companies and stuff. And I don't know why, but, you know, like, I have some glass bake downstairs that has sort of like atomic star looking pattern on it and stuff. And it's super cool. And but surprisingly, the resale value on it isn't there. Now you go look at a piece of like Pyrex with a similar pattern, and the price difference will be astonishing. And I can't remember for sure exactly why. To me, I like I said in that video, I tend to find glass bake more often than Pyrex in better condition than Pyrex. Pyrex seems to have taken quite abuse. And let's see. And Margaret Nation, you had said on that when I was at Savers, that big green Pyrex mixing bowl that was like super damaged. Most of the green was gone. You had said that the function of the bowl was still there, which I do agree. I don't recall there being any chips or any issues with the bowl itself. It was just the applied green color on the outside was very well worn away, most of it. But you were saying there's a new trend to strip the paint from them and just have an all-white set. I believe that. Might as well, because look how many of them, you're more likely to come across Pyrex, especially in the thrift store specifically, I'll say. You're more likely to come across it looking like that green bowl did than you are brand new. So I believe that, and what a good way to repurpose them. And then you said some people are repainting them as well, which is, I mean, that's smart. Why not? Just reglaze them. And heck, then you can add your own pattern to it and whatever else. And yeah, they're worth slim pickings. It's been rough, y'all. Like the last 2 weeks or something, the thrift stores, Savers, Goodwill, it's like, it'll be a week later and I'll go back to the Goodwill that I was at the week before and like not much has changed. And I'm like, okay, so I don't know. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what thrift store I've gone to. They're all in a depressive state is what I'm calling it right now. Alright, doesn't look like I've missed anything in the chat. How do you like living in the Four Corners, Ashley? I hear it's been super hot over there, which would make sense. Oh, and Teresa, you had talked about that Lazy Susan set I got. Where is it? Oh, this piece. I'll just pick up the big piece here. It was made in Italy by Larry SKG. And this is the center bowl for it, and then it has all the individual pieces that surround it. Yeah, this was super cool. I was really excited I found that because that made that set so much better than just the individual. Like, I thought the individual little serving pieces were cool enough, but then when I found that, why it wasn't near them, I don't know. But I'm so glad I went down that aisle because it made a huge difference, I think. Rami, you love that color on the first gold couch. I know. I really like that couch. I know a lot of people would look at it and be like, kind of like, especially because that cutout at the bottom for that middle foot, which I think probably just from people sitting on the couch and the back of their foot rubbing on it, probably rubbed the material. And so whoever owned it before probably cut that away just to keep the material from further fraying and stuff. But yeah, I really love that too. I think that was a cool couch. And the condition of the material otherwise looked pretty good. I mean, I didn't see any big stains or anything on it. Oh, Lisa, yeah, you were astounded when I put it together. I know. I thought about turning the camera back on in the store to show you guys that I had found it, and then I was like, no, I'm going to save it for the haul, because that's kind of a mind blower. And it took me a minute to figure out how to, like, arrange them to get them all to fit together, too. It was kind of a puzzle. Oh, and some people during my Niknax live sale mentioned, well, maybe just have a yard sale and stuff. And I get it. And a yard sale isn't a terrible idea, but at the same time, I think one, my dog would make that very difficult. But two, we don't have the best setup here to have a yard sale, and also, I would feel more comfortable going to like setting up a booth even at a flea market or something like that, even rather than having people come to my home. And that's just personal preference, I suppose. You know, like even when I've sold things on, like personally, just sold things, not as a reseller. Like when we got our new stove, our old stove, there was nothing wrong with it at all. We were just getting a newer one, and so I certainly wasn't going to throw it away. I knew somebody out there was going to need a stove, and so I think I listed it for $100 or something like that on Facebook Marketplace, and a family had like immediately contacted me for it, and the guy and his dad came and got it. And it was a younger guy, probably, you know, in his late 20s, early 30s, something like that. And he had 4 or 5 kids, and their stove had just gone out, like the oven had just gone out, and they were strapped for cash. Oh, this is probably 8 years ago or something. They were strapped for cash, and they were stressing out on what they were going to do on, you know, like, how are you going to cook, you know, kind of thing. And so they were super excited to get it, and it legit worked. It had no issues and stuff. So I've personally sold stuff and had people come to my house and pick stuff up like that. But otherwise, when I've sold stuff on Facebook Marketplace, I generally meet people, you know, at the gas station or the Goodwill or, you know, whatever. Oh, and DP, you had mentioned, what is it? DP3643. On that vase that I found, I think it was like 3 videos ago, the thumbnail for it has that little ceramic dog with the diet refrigerator next to him. And but you had mentioned that a magic eraser would take a lot of those scuff marks out, and that's probably what I would try if I had gotten that piece. Probably what I would have tried first is magic eraser. The problem with those pieces, and I'm talking about, I don't think I have any of them sitting right out here, but it was that vase, and it's like Southwest style, and it has like the gold band, and at the top it was kind of pink and stuff. The problem with those pieces is that they're very porous. They're not glazed. So it's like I think they're painted. I think they paint the ceramic, or the clay, but they're not glazed. And so whenever you apply anything wet to them, even the slight dampness of magic eraser, I have noticed that it tends to like just smudge marks rather than remove them. And because it's porous, it's just like the rest of the ceramic, as it smudges into it, it just like soaks it up. And so I think they had like $13 or $13.25 or something like that on it. And so if it had been maybe $5, I probably would have been game to try it and see, you know, and show you guys how it turned out. But, you know, it is what it is. I didn't want to spend $13.25, I think is what they had on it, to find out I wasted my money. And Mario Ross on that birdhouse. Yeah, you said that it looks like a birdhouse with a hole. It is. It's a birdhouse. Yeah, it's a mosaic style, like, birdhouse. I just thought that thing was so cool. I loved it. Alright, let me see. Check the chat here. Yeah, and people do bargain at garage sales, you know. And I have some inventory and stuff, and even some of our own personal stuff that, you know, Kyle and I were just talking about today, like getting rid of some stuff that we just like don't use. Although really, when I look around, our personal stuff, we don't really have a whole lot of personal stuff. The dog, I don't know who would want him. He's kind of a jerk. But he's a cute jerk though. But you know, I have stuff that I probably wouldn't mind selling like at your regular garage sale like prices. And I've been wanting to get out, which is what irritates me so much too about us having this car trouble over the summer. Is this like this would have been different in the winter because nobody's really doing estate or like garage sales and stuff. But I was hoping this summer to like get out and go to a couple of them, get a feel for it, and then maybe start going to garage sales instead of just thrift stores. Um, but obviously, I haven't been able to really do that, and that's okay. It's fine. It just wasn't meant to be right now. But I do notice, like, when I'm looking on Facebook Marketplace for garage sales that are listed or whatever, for the most part, it's one of two things. It's people like that have small kids and their kids have outgrown their clothes, so it's a lot of like toys and kids' clothes and things like that. It's a lot of stuff that I don't sell. Put it that way. And then the ones that look like they are selling more things along my line, or at least have them mixed in. Um, it's like you can see on a lot of them, like they've gone through and tagged them already and put prices on them, and I can sometimes make out the prices, and I'm like, whoa! It's like they're selling it all at. They're basically holding an eBay store in their garage, and that to me is a waste of time to go to. I suppose it'd be okay to go, just to film it for a video and look at stuff, look at cool stuff. I'm always down for that. But as far as going with the intention to buy stuff, I don't know. I have found it difficult lately to find garage sales, at least in my area, for the most part, that are what you think of as a garage sale, like garage sale prices and stuff like that. Nowadays, you roll up to a lot of garage sales and they've got like a current listing printed out for an item hanging next to it, and I see that a lot in antique stores too. I used to see that in some of the booths at the antique store where my booth was, and I would shake my head like one, people can look it up themselves, and they do, so you don't need to really print it out for them. People know, but two, an eBay listing doesn't prove that what you're claiming it is what it is. I mean, there's a whole lot of things I could sit and complain about doing that. It's flippin' tacky. That's what it is. But yeah, I mean, I probably have a little bit of older inventory that at this point I'd be willing to, let go at less than what it normally sells for, But I don't think I generally price my stuff, unless it is in like top premium condition. I generally don't price my stuff at like the top level it sells for on eBay. I very rarely do that. There's occasions where I have things where I can't find anything on it and I have no clue, and so I just don't. Like, I'd rather start it high and work on bringing the price down over time than to start it like super low and it, because just because I can't find anything on it doesn't mean that there's not wicked smart people out there, and your true collectors, whether you're talking Fenton or just carnival glass in general or pottery or whatever, like your true collectors out there, they're gonna know. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys what I did find, because I don't know if I'm going to wind up using that video footage from today or not. So I'm just going to show you what I got. And it's a set of 3 plates, and they were $3.25. I think I threw away the sticker already. It was $3.25 for the 3 of them. But I thought that was super stinking cool. And because I need more plates to sell, naturally. But they're by Mikasa. And what the heck does that say? Mikasa Stone Manor Tapestry, F as in Frank, 5828. And of course they're made in Japan. And oven to table to dishwasher. The whole range. But they're in perfect condition, all 3 of them. just super cool. Now, the weird part about it is that I have not been able to find a gosh dang thing. There was a website, and I'm going to try to show it to you on my phone because I took a screenshot of it, where it says Tapestry by Mikasa is the name of 2 discontinued patterns. Mikasa Tapestry F5828, which is the one I just showed you, was produced from 1977 to 1979 as a complementary pattern to the Stone Manor collection. Production dates are not known for Mikasa Tapestry 9370, which I think is this other plate here, that one. And then I think they offer something about replacements or whatever. But this is like a Mikasa collector's sort of website or whatnot. So anyway, all 3 of them were in perfect condition, so I grabbed them. I would have loved a set of 4, but 3 is all I got, and they were $3.25, which that actually kind of surprised me too. But when I was in the store, I was trying to look it up, and I couldn't find any sold or current comps on eBay, and really couldn't find much about them at all yet. I haven't spent too much more time investigating, to be honest, but I have no idea what to price them at. Does that mean they're rare? I don't know. Do you guys know anything about them? I know, I loved it. It looked like, yeah, I mean, Tapestry, I think, was a great name for it. Super pretty. I love the colors of it. Again, I wish there were 4, but it is what it is. So that is what I found today. There really wasn't, I'm trying to think back in the video, there really wasn't much else, like I said, even new on the shelves to show you guys. I think when I go to edit that video and compile all that footage, I think when I'm done editing it, I want to say I have roughly 30 minutes worth of footage, and I bet you I'd be lucky to get 15 minutes total out of it, if that. There just wasn't a whole lot going on. A lot of screaming children. It was quite busy in there this morning, so a lot of screaming kids, which is always fun. So, what time is it? 8:02. Oh my gosh, Theodore's starving. How much do they weigh? I don't know. Give me 1 second. I got my scale over here. They are heavy because they're stoneware, but let me plug in my scale and we'll find out. Go to 0, you booger. Oh. They are at 4 pounds and 12 ounces for the 3 together. And I don't have, where's my measuring tape? Oh golly, I moved my tray. Here it is. Uh-oh. Somebody must be walking by outside. Theodore's screaming. Okay, I was going to say about 10 inches in diameter, but they're about 10 3/4 inch in diameter, so slightly bigger than I thought. Oh, just approximate. Yeah, well, almost 5 pounds. They're heavy. Surprisingly heavy. But that's never surprising, you know, especially with stoneware pieces, they tend to be. But, yeah, I don't know. Did you guys have anything going on? Or any questions or anything? I think next, I'm not sure if we'll do it Saturday or Sunday. Probably Saturday. I'll try to do a live unboxing. And ideally, in live sales on Niknax, it's preferred that you do like at least 20 items. So, we'll try to do 20 items. I don't know. I'm looking through some of your guys' comments from my recent videos. just to see. Yeah, and I have no idea what Marcia Losack, I think it is, 2803, had said mixed media art. Because I feel like there was a certain name for what that's called other than mosaic, but certainly mixed media art is a correct term because that is what it is. But I don't know. I couldn't leave that darn thing. I thought that was too cool, and I loved the balance in it with kind of the masculine and feminine, you know, sort of thing with like the beads and the pottery and, you know, and stuff. But then you also had like race cars on there and bottle caps. I don't know if they're beer bottle caps or what, but nonetheless, I mean, it was just, you know, and then they had the black bird, and I think it was an old, like shaker, you know, that they had adhered to the top of the lid and painted it black and stuff. I mean, it was just really cool. It's really unique. Like, I'll never, ever, ever come across that again, ever. So, yeah, they had, what, 4 or 5.25 on it? I have no idea what to price something like that at. Because there will be no such thing as, like, a true comp for it. I could try to look up similar things, but, I think that's something that I'm more interested to, like, put on Niknax as a multi-day live sale and just see what it does. I think, you know, I got it for $4 or $5, so I think, you know, put it on there and start it at $10 or $15 and see what it does. If anything, maybe I'm the only person who likes it. That's always possible. But I thought it was incredible. Oh, and Diane, I think I saw your comment that your piece arrived and was intact and looked good, which is excellent. I'm trying to find that comment. Yeah, here it is. I'm glad it arrived safely. All right. Well, I wanted to show you guys those plates just in case my footage from today wound up not really being usable, or wound up being a super short video. Those of you here tonight will have already known what the big surprise is at the end. But yeah, I don't think I have anything else for tonight. I mentioned earlier, and I'll let y'all know now, I have my eBay and Niknax store at 30% off through September 20th. I'm just working on kind of summer, into summer clear out, basically. So everything's 30% off, but on Niknax you have to use, I believe, my code that it had me create, which was 30% off KC, and it's all one word and it's all caps, the whole thing. And I think I put it in the description of this too, of this live, just so you guys would have it. But I think you put that in at checkout in Niknax, and then it'll apply the 30% off. But otherwise, my eBay's 30% off too. And I noticed sometimes on Niknax, and I don't know why this is, but it estimates the shipping to be a little bit cheaper on Niknax than eBay does sometimes. Although, when you're a seller on eBay, you get discounted postal rates, and you have the option of offering that discount to your buyers. And that's what I do. I just, so that my buyers can get the discounted rate, because why not, you know? Katie, it was incredible. Mosaic-esque. I think that's a pretty good term. I think that's a pretty good term. So, yeah. How about next Saturday? Oh, I'll see you later, Devil's Piano. I know, I gotta go feed Theodore. I hear him down there starting to get grumbly. He's kind of bossy. He's pretty sassy. And he's huge. He's a German Shepherd. We were told German Shepherd lab mix, but I'm convinced he's half horse. He's huge. He's like the size of a pony, seriously. And so when he gets argumentative and stuff, you do what you're told. Okay, you do what Theodore tells you, and that's how that works. And he's hungry, so I'm gonna get going and go feed him. But I'm gonna do at least try it. I'm gonna at least try it, guys. Do another like a live unboxing, but do it as a live sale. So it'll be streamed via Niknax, going through Niknax and then streamed over to YouTube. And so if you've not joined Niknax and you want to potentially get in on the auction or the bidding or whatever, you'll need to be signed up on Niknax to do that. And the link to my Niknax store should be in the description of this video. And so you can follow that over. But you know, go and look at everybody's stores. Go and look at all the sellers. If you're a collector, Niknax is a good platform to go to. Especially for narrowing down, like, eBay is so much wider, so much broader, if you will, and, you know, it's a world platform compared to Niknax, but Niknax has, I believe, well over 100,000 listings on there now, somewhere over, a little over 1,000 sellers, and, you know, like, I don't know, darn it, I've missed the last coffee chat or two with Jocelyn, but you know, somewhere over 40 or 50 or something thousand buyers on it. So I mean, it's been growing leaps and bounds. There's a lot of really good stuff over there. So go check out not just my store, but other people's stores too. But definitely sign up, and when I go live via Niknax, there's a QR code on the screen. So if you are on YouTube and want to come over, you can scan that and it'll bring you directly over to the sale and then get you signed up and stuff that way too. So alright guys, I will let y'all go. See you later. Devil's Piano, Lisa, Katie, Ashley. I know I'm probably missing people. Nancy. I want to thank everybody for coming and hanging out. It was a good, chill Saturday evening with y'all. So I will see you guys on the next one.